Welcome back, Augmented Ones. I'm your host, Jess Storm. This week we're discussing one of our Augmented One Storms that you're going to go augmental over. Raid Incubators. What if you could actually get a raid to start faster? What if you could talk or communicate to other players around you that a raid should or could start soon? What if there was a way for players to get extra incentives for being healthy? I'm going to break down a crazy augmental idea. In our Augmented One Storm section, we encourage everyone to write in with your Augmented One Storm on how Pokemon Go or other augmented reality games could be improved with similar features or small iterations that still keep in line with the current game's strategies or in line with their current development, or other features in the game that could be utilized in other sections to help improve or change things up. Now, the idea requires players to go to the gym once an egg forms on top of a gym. So you're busy fighting the gym, doing other stuff, spinning Pokestops, and you see an egg go on top of a gym nearby, or on top of the one that you're fighting currently. You could then go to that gym and pick up an incubator from that gym. This is the crazy idea, that when you pick up that egg, that incubator, it will then engulf the gym in flames, saying that a player is currently waiting for this gym to hatch. Eager with anticipation, and passionate flames will engulf the gym until the raid hatches. Now, the purpose of the raid incubator system, in my opinion, is so that you can go and do other things and return to the raid afterwards. Currently, if there's players on the same team waiting for the gym, waiting for the raid to hatch, then players could then, in theory, just keep those Pokemon in there, bury them, add Pokemon to it, and then you can see how long ago people were actually at that gym or added stuff to it. But unless there's other teams nearby that are also interested in the raid, and it's a heavily contested one, then you could show by fighting at the gym that, okay, there's other players here, they're just fighting over the gym to communicate with other players saying that, okay, there's people here, there's going to be a raid here, we're going to fight this raid together. Has its ups and downs with the current system, which was what I just described. But if you wanted to go out and hatch some eggs, or visit a Pokestop, or say a Pokemon just spawned down the corner, and you come back too late, or other players show up hoping that other players would be there waiting, and you're nowhere to be found, so they think, okay, we don't have enough people, we can't do this raid. Sorry, guys. Sorry, little Johnny, you're going to have to come back next week. Little Johnny. I don't know. With this new system, little Johnny wouldn't be sad. He would be able to see that the gym is engulfed in flames. With that gym being engulfed in flames, that signifies to any other players around that, okay, players are interested in hatching this egg together. So it could, in theory, just speed up the hatch time if the players are continuously walking. I know what you're thinking. If the egg is going to hatch faster, how are players going to get back to it? The accrued time won't happen until the players return, or there is a maximum amount of time that can be reduced by the raid incubators. It could be 5 to 10 minutes. You could then pick up the egg incubator, walk for 5 minutes, walk back 5 minutes, or be on a specific path set out by the game that you'll then traverse and then return to the gym in the allotted time and then the egg would hatch and allow for players to face off against it. The other idea is, okay, well, say I'm not able to do that. Say I don't want to be healthy and I don't want to walk that little extra bit longer. What's my incentive? Why should they get the advantage of walking faster when I don't? To which I say, introduce a PvP mechanic to gyms that currently have eggs on top of them. You could introduce a NPC, a breeder of sorts, that will come out of the gym and face off against players. If that breeder is then defeated multiple times, probably 5 times, if it's defeated 5 times, it gets a deduction from there, speeding up the raid and incentivizing players to play in other means. Once again, they're not walking, but it's a mechanic that helps speed up the raid and keep players engaged instead of just staring at their phones or sitting inside their car. That currently plagues a handful of communities, and it generally leads to burnout because players show up to the raid and don't get that sense of community that everyone strives for. Everyone's looking for a little bit of community in some way, but they seldom find it due to irritating mechanics and people gaming the system, because that's the only way that they can stay on top of things, because they need to micromanage every minute, and every minute of micromanaging allows them to then maximize their gameplay. They forget about the community when these small buffers could be both a community booster and a morale booster. These small iterations to the game could help bring out other forms of gameplay and still allow raiders to make the most of the time that they have for each gym. In recap, I think that if Niantic were to introduce a raid incubator system, it could be a great boon to players' health, community health, and help reduce the troublesome burden that most players feel with a lengthy hatch time outside of those special events that only happen ever so often, and it's never for the raid that they actually want. Some players go out and hunt tier 4 raids or tier 3 raids, or they're all hunting tier 1 raids. Meanwhile, they're still plagued with the same hour-long timer. Obviously, Niantic will balance as they need, but if a raid incubator system were implemented, those eggs could then hatch faster. And just like we've seen with previous raids, if an egg hatches faster, the length of the Pokemon being on the raid is still there, but it just hatches faster. To curb the complaint that players would have been planning on doing a raid during a certain time frame, quite simply, by engulfing the raid in flames prior to that, any players that were to see that egg during that time frame and checking up on the time, they would then see that the raid was engulfed in flames, therefore will start sooner. Those extra signs to players, it could even pop up with a new notification saying that the raid is currently being incubated, which would mean that it will hatch sooner and will last longer. You could also introduce a race mechanic with it as well, where the players that walk the farthest within a certain time frame and then return to the gym in time will then get awarded extra items based off of it. Granted, every location isn't the best, so this mechanic could be restrained to only inside parks or locations with designated walking trails. And these designated walking trails are would be already using the same mechanics that OpenStreetMaps and other programs already use. Now, if you guys like the idea, make sure you leave a like, subscribe, check us out on all of our other features, any other sites that you prefer. And make sure you share this with your other groups. The more people we have behind this idea, the better off the game will be. I don't know what Niantic has in mind for the gym and raid mechanics, but I'm sure 2020 will definitely bring on that introduction of a rework mechanic in some way. Hopefully I can slide in there and maybe nab some ideas and help them along with their brainstorming process, their Augmented Ones Storming process. Anyway, Augmented Ones, we'll catch you in the next one. Make sure you submit any of your Augmented One Storms or crazy little ideas to contact@augmentednaturally.com, or submit it on Twitter and keep the discussion going. Add any comments down into the comments section. And if you're listening on a podcast service, give us a review whichever way you like. We always appreciate it. Good calls, good balls, good luck. Stay augmented, my friends. We'll catch you in the next one.